My name is John Bai. I'm the head of Security and Compliance Governance Services in AWS. When we talk about services, we're not talking about the actual services. We're actually talking about the product we're offering to every customers. Just now, we all talk about, the other speakers talked about how to help security professionals to secure the generative AI. But let's face it, not everyone here is security professionals, and also we believe not everyone's building generative AI security professionals. So I'm going to talk about AWS. One of the AWS responsibilities making sure the cloud is for everyone and making sure the ability and capabilities for to help everyone to build security and secure generative AI applications on a cloud platform. Earlier this year, when ChatGPT took off, and we realized that this is an opportunity for everyone. The generative AI not only can use it for building consumer apps like search engine and chatbots, we believe the enterprise users and small business users can also leverage generative AI to build applications to help their customers and to help their own business. So we're going to talk about how are we going to help these customers and organizations to build their own generative AI apps with confidence. We all know generative AI is just an evolution of machine learning. Machine learning is not new. AWS has experience with machine learning and Amazon for over 20 years, either through e-commerce recommendation system or our shipment package or our Alexa's interactions. Not only use this technology to help our own business, to empower users. These technologies we have been using this technology to empower the small business and e-commerce to enable our ecosystems to help their business to become more successful. So likewise, AWS is going to use these systems and to power up our existing users to use the generative AI to become more successful. For those of who already have massive data portfolio already running and stored in AWS, we believe this is a tipping point for generative AI. For those who have not decided to migrate their data to AWS for the purpose, either for non-generative AI or for your own production usage, this is a good time for you to start thinking about that. Obviously, security is an unavoidable topic for generative AI. Just now, a lot of speakers already talked about a lot of the security insight about that. As I said, I'm going to help talk about how AWS is going to help everyone to build a secured generative AI application on AWS. The AWS believes building a responsible AI is a responsibility for everyone, because that's how AWS does it, and that's how AWS is going to help everyone to making sure we're going to all achieve responsible AI. I'm not going to go through every single one of these because this has been around a lot of times, but this is how AWS is building it, and this is how we choose our partners, fundamental models, and I'm going to explain it a little bit and how we're going to build it. So basically, we are going to help our users and customers to integrating responsible AI into the end-to-end lifecycle of the fundamental model, starting from acquiring the data down all the way to downstream impact. If we break the generative AI applications into an iceberg, we realize that all the attackers are mostly focusing on the top of the iceberg, which is the application level above the sea level. But we also understand the models, the data, and the infrastructure level are actually fundamental to build these applications. So we believe to protect the whole end-to-end from applications to infrastructure is actually key and crucial for building generative AI applications. That's why today I'm going to break it down to 3 parts: data and model security, application protection, and also the global compliance. Now let's move into data and model security. First of all, we need to build a data strategy to fuel your generative AI applications. It needs to be comprehensive, it needs to be integrated, and it needs to be governed. Earlier, I said about if you already have a data that's injected into AWS, which is great. I believe you already use some of these services. AWS provide a comprehensive set of services for your data foundation. Whether or not you're using Redshift or you're using Aurora to store your data, and then we also provide tools to help you to govern and manage this data. Also, we believe we need to protect the data at all stages. One of our CTOs always said we need to encrypt in your data everywhere, at any time, and at all stages. And most importantly, we have to make this easier. Earlier I said, we have to make sure that the tools are not just for security professionals, but we need to make sure that it's easy for everyone to use. Whether the data is in store, in transit, and while the data is in use. For data in store, the AWS KMS is the key management service. It's an encryption tools that are already built into our management service. Whether you 140 plus management service, whether if you're storing your data in S3 bucket, if you're using Aurora as a database, or using Redshift as your analytic tools, there's no deployment required. You just need to enable it at your data source, and your data will be automatically secured. And it's actually quite cost effective. I want to highlight that our largest users' encryption cost at KMS is actually less than $100 every month. So that's as a minimum cost to protect your data. And also at AWS, we believe encryption is not just a tool, as a one layer of your access level. So once the data, if the hackers break into the environment for whatever purpose, the encryption is your last stage to protect your data from being stolen. Also, we have to talk about access. You have to apply access control to this data, and also the governance tools, including CloudTrail to track all of your API calls into these data. Also, for AWS, we ensure all data do not leave our data secured facilities without encryption. The encryption is by default when you transfer data from region to region, and also you can use encryption technology to transfer data from VPC to VPC. Lastly, we have the protection in use. We have number one on the hardware level. We have a Nitro card system. That is the system to ensure that none other users or the unauthorized access to your data on a hardware level. And also, we're making sure when you do the data sharings, there are clean rooms, technology like AWS clean rooms to ensure if you're sharing your data with third parties, your data is actually shared in confidence. The raw data will not be shared. And I will also highlight that we have a sensitive data protection solution. The reason I highlight this because we notice there is already regulations globally that to prohibit to use sensitive data to train your fundamental models. For instance, there is a recent case that in an HR system, they're using a generative AI to help filtering the resumes. But then if you were asking a question about the candidate's age, which is really not really being a fairness and being ethical. So with the sensitive data protection, prior to preparing data will help you to filter out the sensitive data, like personal data, before even building your applications. One of our pledge to help you to make it easier to build a responsible AI. Now, after I talk about data security, I want to talk a little bit about model security. We already understand comparing to traditional ML models, the foundational models requires unlabeled and unstructured data. And we also have one fundamental data to serve all the purpose. So it's actually crucial to protect that one fundamental models. The easiest way is obviously the Amazon Bedrock. We released Amazon Bedrock earlier this year. It's the easiest, and then the most accessible way to access to the fundamental models like Amazon own Titan and also Anthropic's, Cohere, and AI21 Labs. These are all our partners' fundamental models. I also want to highlight earlier last month, we also integrated the Llama, the Meta AI models into the Amazon Bedrock. Most of these, I want to highlight one thing, that all these models, we won't be using your data to train these models. And also we take privacy as our top priority and top concerns when you choose any of these models. First of all, your data will not be used to train these models, and we won't share your own data with any of these partners. How it works is that you will take a copy of these fundamental models into your own VPC environment, and you will train your own private copy of any of those fundamental models already within your own VPC. And secondly, all your data is encrypted at rest, as I talked about earlier. So you can use your own private data to train these fundamental models, and then for your own usage. And lastly, you can customize these fundamental models for your own specific users, because you are actually keeping a private copy of these FMs, and you can use APIs to access it later on. After that, when you have your own FMs, and we provide these tools to help you to control the transparency, and then also the things like to detect a model and data drift, and also to manage model versions. All these features are built into SageMaker's ML empowered governance to help you to making sure all of your models are running at the stage that you are requested. Or in the case it doesn't run well, the SageMaker model registry can help you to record every fundamental model and then help you to revert to the last known good stage. But we have to admit that this is not everyone can be done by manual, and some of them may require professional assistance. This is a PwC event, obviously, and I'm happy to announce that as one of our core partners, PwC's Privacy Ready, is also available on AWS's marketplace. You can use the Privacy Ready as a scenario awareness assessment questionnaires with built-in risk factors and rule engines to help you to identify early risks for your fundamental models and for your entire data journey. And secondly, I would like to talk about application security. When you build your generative AI applications or any applications, that we have to admit that none of us we can't ensure that every one of us is a security expert, or everyone who's building the applications is equipped with the security knowledge. That's why the DevSecOps is actually quite important. In order to help everyone to make DevSecOps easier, AWS is announcing 2 AI-powered tools to help to build more security applications. The first tool I would like to introduce is Amazon Code Whisperer. That is automatically that's AI-powered code generation in real time to help you to build a security code, and also to help you to flag the code similarity to open source training data and filter them by default. And also, certainly, it'll scan code to find hidden vulnerabilities during your code generation process. For the code you already generated, we also have the Amazon Code Guru Security to help you to find and resolve the vulnerabilities existing in your own code. I want to highlight these, and this is one of another fundamental stance for Amazon to help and empower our users. Both these tools are built by by using millions and millions of Amazon's own code. We don't use custom code or open source code to train these capabilities. We use Amazon's code to train these capabilities, and that would make them available to our customers to help them to build the code and applications easier. Once we build the code and we build the application, we believe that we have to use a certain amount of control and access to making sure the applications is being accessed by the correct users and by the correct permissions. We were talking about a zero trust or network control previously, but in Amazon or in AWS, we believe this is an and relationship and not an either or. But in order to make it into an and relationship, we want to make sure that it's easier to everyone. We all know about zero trust, sometimes there is a hype as to secure is to replace the VPN. That's why we released the Amazon Verified Access to help every application to build secure access and enterprise applications without VPN. The power of the Amazon Verified Access is not only that it helps you to access building a secure connections, and it also can leverage the verified permissions to help you to access to a rule set that is not only control the connection of the application, but also to control the policies and also fine-grained authorization. Because we cannot, now that when the user have access to the application, we also want to have a fine-grained one more access and authorization to ensure that they have obtained a certain permission to access a certain resource within that applications. Once you have an application, we believe the resilience is also important. The number of uptime, the ability for the application to scale it to worldwide, the ability for you to migrate the application from one region to the third region. That's why AWS is the most secure and extensive and reliable global cloud infrastructure. We have 32 regions across 102 availability zones. The data will be automatically replicated into the availability zones. I'm not going to expand that. We are the most secure and the largest scale of public cloud in the world. So it's stable and it's resilient. Lastly, I want to talk about global compliance. Compliance is a pain for everyone. Amazon and AWS already achieved 140 plus standards and compliance certification worldwide. Not only we achieve these certifications, we're making sure our customers who are using AWS and AWS managed service can inherit these certifications. What does it mean? Taking HIPAA and the GDPR as an example. Earlier I introduced Amazon Bedrock. Amazon Bedrock is already GDPR and HIPAA ready. When you chose to use Bedrock to build your fundamental models, you automatically inherit the compliance capability of the Bedrock, which is HIPAA and GDPR compliant. There's no need for you to do a lot of paperwork to recertify these. You can directly inherit AWS capability to build your compliant applications. Lastly, I want to say security is on our top priority. We do this since day one. That's why we build all of these security features and security tools to help our customers to build apps, to build more responsible AIs from day one. We didn't build these capabilities and tools just because of generative AI. We built this 17 years ago at the first day of AWS. And we're going to continue this effort and to ensure either for generative AI and when the next hype comes in, we'll also stay confident to be able to build the most secure and the confident applications on the most secure and reliable cloud in the world, which is AWS. It's still day one. Thank you.